Hello, everyone. This is your host, John. And let's start with first story titled, After 18 Years of Marriage, I Just Found Out That My Children Aren't Mine. My wife Kelly and I have known each other for over 20 years and have been married for 18 years. We have 17-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, and I found out that they aren't mine 2 days ago. My kids got those ancestry tests for the family, and we found out that I am not their father. Kelly and I met each other as coworkers at a job right out of college. We both were very ambitious, so after working for a couple of years, we decided to start our own business. We fell in love, and a year after starting out business, we got married. A couple of months into marriage, we had a massive fight over the direction we wanted to take our business in, and I left our home. She came to me a couple of weeks later, and we compromised. We've been inseparable ever since. Kelly got pregnant around that time. We've been through thick and thin. Our business has been through several hardships, but we weathered them together. We were always there for each other. We could always depend on each other. I loved her so much. She was a part of me, and I couldn't even imagine a life without her. I trusted her absolutely until this happened. Kelly has been crying and apologizing constantly. She told me that during the time we had that fight at the start of our marriage, she got drunk one night and slept with a random guy, and that she has not cheated on me since. The betrayal has left me disoriented. I told Kelly I needed time to process this, and I'm currently staying at a hotel. I don't know what I'm even doing anymore. The last 2 days have been a blur. I feel like a zombie, completely unable to feel or process anything. I don't intend to abandon my kids. I might not be their father, but I'm still their dad, and I love them dearly. Right now, I'm sitting on my hotel bed, and I have not eaten anything today. My thoughts are a mess, so I'm writing this down to help me process. Kelly has always been a great wife and an excellent business partner. I don't know if I'll be able to look at her the same again, or if I'll be the same person again. I don't know how to move forward. You two had a fight, and the first thing she did was to jump on some random guy's D. She didn't just lie to you, she lied to her kids too. The best way to move forward is by divorcing her. There were these two comments that struck me the most. One commenter wrote, I found out my dad wasn't my dad after taking the Ancestry DNA test. My mother said she doesn't remember. After I asked her, she blocked me on social media and hasn't had contact with me in over 3 years. Another comment. Grandma on my dad's side, his mother, had an affair while her husband was in the Navy during World War II. Both he and I look nothing like that side of the family. Pictures of him when he was little. Pictures of me when I was little, and all the way up through today. She knew the guy and took it to her grave, but back then no one talked of such things. And now to the update. Thank you for the overwhelming response I got on my post. I just wrote it down to clear my head and get my thoughts in order. The day after my post, I called my children and told them I loved them. They were scared that I might leave them. I told them that they're still my children, even though I'm not their biological father, and that I won't be abandoning them. I just needed to think about my relationship with their mother. I saw several comments telling me that they're not my children because they don't have my DNA, but it matters very little to me. I raised them, and they're my children. I spent time thinking about how to move forward with Kelly after that. I was angry that she hid the fact that she slept with someone else after we got married. I calmed down and really thought about the whole situation. I really wanted to call my lawyer to talk about separation, but I kept thinking about our life together, so I decided to talk to Kelly and give her a chance. I called her and went back home the next day. My kids were thrilled to see me, and we spent some time together. Kelly and I went up to our room after that. I didn't speak to her properly since we saw the results. I gave her time to talk. Kelly told me that it had never even occurred to her that the kids couldn't be mine. She told me that when we had the fight early in our marriage, she was angry at me for leaving over a business dispute, and after waiting for me to return, she went to a bar one day and got wasted. She picked up some guy and didn't remember much that happened that night. The guy was gone before she woke up the next day, and she felt extremely guilty after that. She wanted to tell me but was afraid that I would leave her. To be fair, I was a hot-headed and stubborn guy back then, so I probably would have filed for a divorce without a second thought. To her, it was a drunken mistake that would never come out, so she didn't want to risk our marriage. And I would have never found out about it if she didn't get pregnant that night. She broke down multiple times and apologized constantly throughout the conversation. I believe her story. Kelly has been my rock and partner throughout my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without her. We trusted each other absolutely. This ordeal has made a massive dent in my belief in her as a wife, but I still trust her as a partner. We had long conversations about our future, and I told her I was willing to give us a chance. I made it clear that we might not succeed and I might leave, but I was willing to try. I assured my children that no matter what happened with my marriage, I would always love them and be their father. We decided to give marriage counseling a try. My wife asked a therapist friend of hers and she recommended a counselor. We have appointments starting next week. What the hell, OP? You can't seriously believe what she's saying. Respect yourself and don't be a doormat. A year later, OP posted a small update which is, "We are still together. Our relationship has been mended. I won't say it's like before because it never will be, but we are in a very good place." Getting to this place wasn't easy. There were days that I felt like I was wasting my time because I couldn't trust her anymore. But Kelly was very patient with me. Therapy helped immensely. Whenever I felt like giving up, my children were my motivation to keep trying. It was a difficult journey, but I am incredibly lucky that I was able to mend my relationship. This is my advice. You are not obligated to try and fix your relationship if you feel that it has been irrevocably damaged. I decided to try because I loved my wife deeply and trusted that she was telling the truth. We had been through so much, both in business and in our relationship, and I knew I had to at least try to save it. Even after you try, you will most likely fail, and that's okay. Also remember that people will judge. I made the original post to organize my thoughts, and I had people calling me an idiot and p-whipped even a year later. I don't care about that, but you might. Fellas, don't be like this guy. And let's move on to the next story titled, "My husband got a paternity test on our daughter, 5 female, and it came back negative, but I never cheated. Now he thinks our relationship is a lie and wants to divorce. What should I do?" OP is 29 and her husband 31. Now back to the story. I don't know how it happened, and I haven't been able to stop crying all day. I never cheated. I love my husband. We've been together since college, and he's the love of my life. He's handsome and kind, and while I've slept with 2 other people, both were before we got together. There is no other potential father for our daughter. We were married already and actively trying for a baby. I never cheated. I never would cheat. And I don't know why he took that stupid test because I would never, ever cheat. But it came back negative, and now he thinks he's not her dad. I don't know how to convince him it was a faulty test, and I'm so scared. These past few months, it's like he's become someone completely different from the man I married. He's cold and suspicious. He kept demanding to see my phone and wouldn't tell me why. And I showed him at first, but eventually told him I wouldn't anymore unless he explained why. He's been distant with our daughter, too. He stays in his office for hours on end, and I don't know what he's doing. I did not cheat. He accused me this morning, saying he'd done the test after realizing that our daughter's eyes, brown, wouldn't naturally come from ours, both blue, and that he wanted me to get out of the house. I didn't leave, and he locked me out of our bedroom, and now I'm in my daughter's room. This is terrifying. What should I do? The specific advice I want is how I can prove I'm innocent and how to make sure this relationship works. I want to keep my family together at all costs. Also, I just had a conversation with my husband. He's out of his room now, and we discussed some things. I told him again that I would never cheat and started talking about a list I made of tests I want done, but he told me that he didn't want to hear it right now. We're going to have a longer conversation tomorrow, and he said that he still loves our daughter, and he won't try to keep me out of the house or our room for now. I asked him to hug me, and he did. I'm scared that I won't be able to convince him. I just want our family to go back to normal. How can I be a good wife and support his needs while proving my innocence? TLDR. My husband confronted me this morning saying our daughter isn't biologically his after a failed paternity test, but I never cheated. And now to the update. First off, I wanted to thank everyone who reached out. My original post got so much attention, it was hard to get to everything, but I ended up making a list of plans and tests I wanted to get done. My husband was, understandably, distrustful of me for a while, but he apologized for the way he acted, which I didn't need, and said that he wouldn't try to kick me out of our home. He did say, though, that if every test came back and I'd cheated, then he was going to go scorched earth. We did a few tests, blood paternity tests for him and me and our daughter, and we had an appointment with a chimerism specialist coming up, but that got canceled because, well, some of you guessed it. But my daughter is not biologically mine either. I don't know how this happened, but a police officer came to our house and took our statements, and we're suing the hospital where I gave birth. I don't know what happened to my baby, and that is terrifying. I have my husband back, but my whole world is still upended, and I just wish he'd never taken that stupid test. I've been sleeping in my daughter's room, and I'm so afraid that she's going to be taken away from me. But at the same time, I want to know where my biological daughter is, and if she's okay. I pray to God she's okay. My daughter still doesn't know the details, and we've been trying to keep this quiet. The last thing we need is a big scandal. I don't want people who know us to look at her differently. She deserves better than that. She's such a good kid, and she's not some spectacle to be gawked at. If we can find her birth family, I have no idea what we'll do. I guess the best case scenario would be to get a bigger house and all live together, but I don't know if we can afford that, or if they'd go for that, or even if we'll be able to locate them, or if I'm just crazy. This whole situation is crazy. I don't know anyone else who's been in a situation like this. I mean, are there support groups for parents of kids who got mixed up? I Googled and nothing came up. Literally, all I'm getting are tabloid articles from trashy magazines that slap the faces of innocent kids on the same pages as celebrity scandals and fiction. How do we tell our daughter? I mean, we can't tell her now. She'll tell the kids at school and then it'll be everywhere, but we have to say something. I don't know what I ever did to deserve this. TLDR. My daughter is not biologically mine or my husband's. And the second update, I think you all deserve an update, so here goes. We found our biological daughter. She was in foster care. I don't think it's going to surprise a ton of people that the hospital we had her at wasn't in the best area, and she was taken home by a family who ended up under investigation. And apparently, when she was proven not their biological child, she was taken by the state. I feel terrible for that family, but at the same time, so grateful to have found her safe and alive. We've started the adoption process immediately, and well, we have some pretty significant resources now. I wouldn't say the settlement money makes up for what we went through exactly, but it's close to $2 million. Our lawyer said we could have gotten more in court, but honestly, the hospital wanted to end this fast and quietly, and so did we. We explained to our daughter that her sister is going to be coming to stay with us, and that we still love her very much. She seems ecstatic at the idea. Here's hoping it works out in actuality. We're planning to move away from our town in a few months. We found a wonderful place in a good school district a few states away, and it has plenty of room for our family to grow. I don't know what we're going to do about the other family. My biological daughter doesn't seem to remember them very much, and I don't really want to involve them if I don't have to, but I know it's probably morally wrong not to let them know what happened. I mean, that poor mother must not have any idea what happened. I can only imagine how horrible that would be. For now, though, I'm focusing on my daughters and hoping to plan a beautiful life. Finally, my husband. I love him more than anything in the world, and he loves me. We've been through hell and come out the other side, and we are not interested in breaking up or ending the relationship or anything like that. He deleted his Reddit account, and he promised that he's going to trust me from now on. Because as it happens, our child being switched at birth is more likely than me cheating on him. I love him so much. We're going to be okay. This will hopefully be the last time I use this account. Thank you to everyone who reached out with help and advice. Damn, this was a wild ride. Glad everything worked out in the end. And the final story before we wrap this up. Am I the a-hole for refusing my late neighbor's adult kids his house after he left me most of his inheritance? I had a neighbor, Grappa, who was more like family than just the man next door. After my dad died when I was 4, he became a huge part of our lives, constantly helping my mom and me, financially and emotionally. Grappa's own kids lived states away and hardly ever visited, maybe 10 times in 24 years. He was lonely, and I became the closest thing he had to a grandson. In the last few months of his life, things got really bad. He lost control of his body and couldn't speak anymore. My mom moved in to care for him after doctors recommended house care, and I was there every day after classes. His kids didn't even show up until he was in the hospital, 3 weeks before he passed. After he died, they stayed at his house while we waited for the will to be read. The lawyer had already sent notices, and I was initially surprised I received one. I was floored when the will revealed Grappa left me his 3-bedroom apartment in the city, which he had bought some years ago as an investment and was renting it out, and $50K, while his own kids got $75K and his personal possessions. The kicker? Grappa willed his house to be sold with the money going to charity and his grandkids' college funds. They were livid and had a meltdown instantly, but couldn't contest the will because it was watertight. After the reading, his kids approached me privately. They told me to do the right thing and give them the apartment. They even offered me $50K under the table to hand it over, saying it was their rightful inheritance. I refused the ridiculously low offer. They then became vulgar and threatening, and rather personal about my mom's relationship with Grappa. I wasn't actually willing for all these complications, and I was actually thinking of a favorable negotiation. This was the last straw that broke my back. I told them to go screw themselves, I'm keeping it. One of them threatened to go public. I don't know for what, but she is a reporter. Smear my reputation and make it seem like me and Mom manipulated a lonely old man into giving me everything. I'm holding my ground, and now they're accusing me of taking advantage of him. Friends and even some family members are telling me I should have just taken their offer to avoid drama. I told them to F right off too. I've lawyered up just in case and have kept records carefully. Am I selfish? Am I greedy? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He wanted you to have the apartment and it would be disrespectful to ignore his wishes. If she goes public, sue her for defamation. And that's the end of today's saga. Dear viewers, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out. Until next time, bye-bye.